Okay, good morning again, everyone. Welcome to the daily market analysis. In this video, we'll look at the Aussie CPI, which was released at 2.7%. What could be in store for the Aussie dollar? We'll look at gold reaching a new all-time high again. We'll look at how to navigate that and also all the other major currency pairs. Get your questions ready. Put it into the chat if you have any. But first, okay. I hope you can see me okay, hear me all right. Put it into the chat and let me know if you're on the session. If you're new to the session, do drop a message and say hi. Let me know where you're joining us from. And for all the regulars, a big welcome back. A special welcome to Brian TP, who just joined us as an elite navigator on the membership. Again, if you are not already or you haven't already joined, you're considering, click on the little join button at the just beside my name there. You can join as an elite navigator. You get early access to some videos. You get exclusive member videos. You get live streams. You get the TSRI indicator on TradingView, access to that, and any other indicators that I'll develop um, through the days, right? So that will be sent out to you as well. So do make sure you join that. A lot of value there for you guys. Now, if you can, and if you haven't already, do remember to click on that like and subscribe button. It would help massively. And if you have any questions at any point in time, please feel free to put it into the chat and let me know. So first off, let me see. Okay, it all seems to be working good. Just wanted to check that. Okay, so first off, what happened? All right, what happened? This morning at 9:30 a.m. GMT plus 8, we had the Aussie CPI number. Right, Aussie CPI number year on year, it was a 3.5%. It was expected to be released at 2.7. It got released as expected at 2.7%. So as a result of that, you see that on the Aussie dollar at 9, is right there, right? We saw the Aussie find the top, right? Find the top on the from the channel, and also that 0.69 level before pushing back down. So as a result of that news, we saw it pushing back down. Anticipation is that the RBA could, in the near term or in the medium term, see the CPI having slowed down to 2.7%. I think it needs to go down a little bit more, right? Slow down to 2.7%. Could start thinking or commenting about introducing a rate cut decision, or to start planning for a rate cut scenario, right? So that's one thing we'll look out for, and that's how that 2.7 has impacted or is likely to impact the Aussie dollar. Following on from that, we had the BOJ core CPI year on year staying at 1.8%. No big surprise there. The yen had gone through yesterday and today quite a bit of volatility as it pushed down through last night and then bounced back up early this morning, right? Bounced back up since 8 a.m. this morning to the upside. So we've seen quite a bit of volatility on the yen. We'll talk more about that shortly. And not much else to pay attention to for today, right? Scrolling back one, a bit of a surprise here from the US. What I mean by that is at 10 p.m. last night, we saw the US consumer confidence being released at 98.7. It was in 103.3, got revised up to 105.6. Didn't expect much of a change. I wasn't expecting this news to be that different, but it got released at 98.7, below 100. It's not the worst case scenario yet, but it is putting out a little bit of an alarm, because consumer confidence leads to retail sales leads to GDP numbers, right? So if consumer confidence slows down, consumers are less likely to spend. If they're less likely to spend, GDP drops or slows down, economic activity slows down, recessionary fears come right back into play. And because of that, at 10 p.m. GMT plus 8 last night, we saw 98.7. We saw the dollar index. This was at 10, right? I'll zoom in a little bit. It was just at 10 at 100.75. It pushed right down to 100.52, bounced and then continued lower again. So it broke that 100.60 level that I was looking for it to bounce. It came down and then broke right through because of the news. So, not gold, dollar has found a new low. Dollar has found a new low that we saw it at very briefly on the 19th, but it looks like we could see a little bit more downside. Gold found a new all-time high, but it looks like it's tracing back down again. I'll tell you more about that shortly. That was very interesting there. In terms of the news moving forward, what do we have to look out for? We do have at 3:30 p.m. tomorrow the Swiss National Bank with the interest rate decision 1.25, currently expected to cut 25 basis points to 1%. Right? We're looking out for that. And also, it presents a risk of, I saw that headliner. Where is it? There. Swiss National Bank preview, renewed focus on foreign exchange intervention. That big word, intervention again, right? So we look at that's for tomorrow at 3:30. Just nice. It will be during the time we do our live stream, so make sure you tune in for that. We might see some fireworks tomorrow. If they do come about with some interventions, we can look at it live. We'll look at price movements as it happens, and I'll guide you through that whole process. Okay, but for today, not much else to pay attention to. I think that we have good key levels that we're going to react or look for reaction to, and some possible very good trade setups that we can pay attention to as well. Now, Benjamin, how are you doing? I look forward to seeing you at the live session in Dubai too. I look forward to that. Thanks for reminding me. So, as Benjamin is saying, what you guys will, especially any of you who are in Dubai, around Dubai, Abu Dhabi, in the UAE, or if you want to travel there, let me just do a shameless plug for a moment. You can jump to my website. You can check out, I have a pop up there. 3-hour masterclass, 3 Forex trading strategies, free to join live in Dubai on the 13th of October on a Sunday. No excuses, it is free. I'll be there. I'll be guiding you through the whole process. I hope you join me. All you have to do, first name and email address, submit, and I'll see you there. Okay, so shameless plug done. Let's get into it. Let's look at the charts. There we go. Okay. And a big good morning, Jumarinus. How are you doing? Hey, Stefan, how are you doing? Now, dollar index. That's done. We'll take that one away. That area is still holding. We'll do that. We don't need that. We'll take that one away. Hey, Christina, good morning. Now, looking at the dollar index, I just want to show you this whole move. That looks like it's a long time ago. We can take that away for now. And that. Okay. We'll consider that area. So I just want to remove those old levels. We don't need to pay attention to that. Now that it's broken, we want to see what's going to happen next. Okay, I'm quite happy with this. I'll look at it on H4 first as well. So why I look at it on H4 is because we're right here now, and this was the level, and this is the big key support here at 99.70, right? 99.70 at this point. So that's what we're looking out for. Okay. Right. Back to the H1 time frame. Looking at the dollar index. I just realized something. I just realized you can't see the lines on the price on the dollar. I'll fix that next time. Okay. Sorry, I'm just rambling away. Here we are. Dollar index, if you look at it on a TSR MACD, we've had a crossover, right? We had an MACD, TSR MACD crossover at 8 a.m. this morning, and that's why we've seen the dollar index sitting right across, big downtrend, crossing over back up, so it's sitting right across. But anticipation is that we're going to see it continue lower, right? We're going to see it continue lower. So what I'm looking out for here on the dollar, today being the 25th, where is the month gone? It's the 25th already. All right, dollar index is trading down, needs to break 100.20 to trade down towards 100. Big round number level here. Could hesitate a little bit, but I'm anticipating for it to break that level and head down towards 199.70. No major news on the dollar for today through to tomorrow, where we have the GDP to be released and Chair Powell speaking at a pre-recorded opening remarks at the US Treasury Market Conference. So with that, then what we could see, what I'm anticipating, is a break. We need to see it break. Because it's forming a new low, we could see it rebound and then continue down towards that 99.70 level. Okay, so what it needs to do as well, key level to look out for, that's my support now turned resistance, and that makes sense. H4, that's good. However, I'm going to revise it down slightly. Okay, back to the H1. I'm just revising it down to catch the more recent moves. So it's just along that 100.50 level. All right. So let me see. Dollar index, no big news. No other news that could push it up either. Okay. So now I'm looking at this. I'm actually now thinking that it could retrace a little bit more. Right, so I'm looking for it to retrace, needs to stay below 100.50, could test 100.20 again, bounce down that way. Okay, So that's what I'm looking for. Putting it into words. Dollar index retracing from 100.20 could retest 100.50. Ooh. 50. Look for rejection to continue lower to 199.70 major support level. All right, does that make sense to you guys? Let me know, put it into the chat. So it's retracing, right? Retracing from 100.20 could retest 100.50. Look for a rejection to continue lower to 100 and then possibly down to 99.70. Why I hesitated, I've been thinking quite a bit just then, was I'm just wondering whether it could come right back and test this trend line. While you can't rule that out, I see that as a bit of a low likelihood, right? I see that pushing back up to around that point, test and reject. If it comes up to this level, maybe around at 61.8, could happen, but I do think that we'll possibly see that level. Okay, I changed that to 60. There we go. Hey Diana, no worries, better late than never. Okay, there we go. That's what I'm looking for on the dollar index. So a bit of a recovery to come, small retracement, but generally still looking for that downside move, continuing on from the trend that we've seen, and it has been sustained for a long time. Now, with that said, then we'll look at the Kiwi dollar. Right, we look at the Kiwi dollar. Yesterday, we were saying look for reaction along that 0.63 level. Because of that weakness we saw on the dollar overnight, it got to 0.63 and it blasted right through that at 9 and 10 o'clock to the upside towards that resistance level of 6360. Right, so take that one away. That resistance, I wouldn't call it a resistance now. I'll change that to a nice dotted line. Fib level all the way to the top, showing that rejection back down. At this point, you have this trend line still. I'll catch that one just because it kind of catches more levels. There we go. Okay. So take that away at 23.6. It was where we were. Well, what level we're looking out for before. Now, on the Kiwi, because we are expecting further downside on the dollar index, what I'm actually looking out for here would be that the Kiwi dollar pushes down, test this level at 0.63 and rebound back up. Okay, so I'm looking for a move like that and then a push back up towards the resistance level. So because of that, then I would be looking at 6310. Stop loss relatively tight, no more than 20. I think that is very generous. Take profit at 50 pips to the upside. Okay, 6310. So Kiwi looking to buy at 0.6310. Stop loss 20, take profit 50 to the upside. Okay, that looks good. If I, it could threaten that trend line, but that trend line has been holding. So I would anticipate that it's likely to keep holding. Even if you took that lower level, it could come back down, but we're looking for that bounce, that continuation back up. Okay, then on to the Aussie. I kind of like this a little bit more. So yesterday's trade didn't trigger. Now, if you look at this, catch that point, we're sitting at or just below that resistance level. The H4, just want to check this point. We can even catch right up the top there. So back to the H1, we're turning down from that resistance. I'm thinking that if it sits here, right, it could push back up. It could push back up. If it does push back up, I'll prefer to buy the Kiwi up. Looking at the Aussie, looking at the CPI number that we just had from this morning, what I'm looking for here is a test, a rebound, something like that, and then this way. Okay, so channel goes right across. So what I'll be looking for here as an alternate view would be 6880, stop loss 20, take profit down to the channel at about 40 pips. You might close out a little bit earlier, but that's what I'll be looking for. Right, a test, reject, and push down 6880, 6 hang on a second. Okay, 6880, stop loss 20, take profit 40 to the downside on the Aussie. If it doesn't retrace back up and it starts pushing down immediately, you could also be looking at, I'll show you that scenario. Alternatively, you could also be looking for it to break that mid level, which is at about 6870. Give it a bit more space. 6865. Stop loss will be tight, about 15. Take profit, you have about 30 to the downside. So you have that two scenarios possible on the Aussie. Either it rebounds off the midline from the channel to retest that resistance and turn down, then you'll be looking for that move. Or it starts pushing down at 6865 and then you look for it to trade lower. That way. Either that or that. Okay, so still looking for the downside on the Aussie just to remain within that channel. I still think it's going to push up, but to remain within that channel, test the bottom to rebound back up again. Okay, I forgot whether I said that, but hey Richard, good morning, how are you doing? Now with that, so we have both scenarios, dollar weakness, some dollar strength and then dollar weakness on the Kiwi. Aussie dollar to push lower because of the CPI number that we just saw, to do it that way, to stay within the channel. Now with that, then looking at the pound dollar. Right, pound dollar, we're looking for that to bounce around and push up off the trend line. Didn't come down as low, but it did break out of this horizontal consolidation to push up towards that 1.3435 level. It came to as high as 1.3425 before now turning back down again. So take all that away. Now at this point, okay, Aussie sell. So Diana's asking a question: why Aussie sell considers CPI didn't change? Although the CPI came out as expected, it did show a slowdown from that 3.5% previous number. The previous print of 3.5, there's a 2.7 now. So it's just it does show a slowdown in inflation growth. Yeah, so a slowdown in inflation growth. With that slowdown in inflation growth, we should see, or we could see, the RBA start thinking about a rate cut scenario. Not that they'll do it straight away. They have said that might be towards the end of the year or into next year, but maybe they'll start talking about a rate cut scenario if it does continue to trade lower again. Okay, I hope I answered your question there. Yeah, let me know if that helps. Now, on to pound, checking the H4. Awesome. Okay. That level makes sense. That level makes sense. That's all good. Okay, I'm happy with those levels. Now, I don't need that. I don't need that for now. And if you look at the trend line, we have that pushing right up. So very similar, we're looking at the dollar retrace, right? Looking at the dollar retrace to possibly push back down. We might even be looking at that. So I'm thinking that we might see the pound dollar come back down. Just try this as well. Yeah, doesn't make sense there. Okay, so we might see the pound dollar come quite a bit lower. It is currently at 1.3385. I'm even thinking that it might come down to 1.3330. Quite a good retracement down before we could see it bounce back. I'm still looking for that bounce back up. So on the pound dollar, there's quite a lot of space up there. Let me just, sorry, I'm just going to scroll and check. Where are we? Okay. So quite a bit of space up there. That resistance is right up to this point. I'm thinking that we could also still see a level there at 1.36. So that makes sense. Now back to the H1. Current. So look for that retrace to complete back down to this area at 1.3320. Look for it to push up. If it does break, we could see that, and then a further upside towards 1.36 in the medium to longer term, right? I don't think it's going to be in a rush. Now it's going to come back down. We're going to look for it to test trend line and bounce. Following the trend, 1.3345. Stop loss would be about 40 pips. Take profit, you have 80 to the upside. The first move 80, then if it breaks that level, you got the next move up again, right? Test and bounce off that 23.6 level and that support area and the trend line to push up. So I like that confluence of levels that we have right here. So I'm looking for it to test, and that's what I'm looking for it to test and rebound back up. 1.3345, 40 to 80 pips to the upside. 1.3345, stop loss 40, take profit 80 to the upside. Then on to the euro. I did this trade. I got in a lot earlier. So I was looking at it on the H4 time frame on that when that candle closed. I think it was this candle. No. I think it was this. I think it was this candle. When that candle closed, I got into the trade. I had a 60 to the upside. No, I think I got in a little bit earlier than that. Yeah, 60 to upside. It just closed out. So what happened was it closed out. It could have closed out this morning, but then it was out a bit earlier. All right, so euro dollar to the upside worked out. Now, as it pushed up towards that 1.12 level, and it looks like it could retrace from this point. We don't need that. Take that one away. Okay. Now, at this point, take those interim levels out for now. Trend line is still right across that way. Now, looking at this, we're anticipating a retrace on the euro. I don't like, I think you guys probably know already. I don't like trying to guess where it could retrace right back down to, but it looks like euro could push down towards 1.1170 and then push back up that way. 38.2 is there. It could be anywhere in this area here. I think that 1.1170. So an early entry would be about 1.1175. What you could be looking for would be 1.1175. Stop loss would be about 10, 15. And take profit could be 20 all the way up to 70 pips. I would prefer to let it do whatever it does in this area. Look for it to break above 1.12. Take profit at 45, stop loss at 15 that way. Right? So I'm going to let it do whatever it does. Look for it to break 1.12. So I'm looking at 1.1205. 15 stop, 45 take to the upside. 1.1205. Stop loss 15, take profit 45 to the upside. Okay, that makes sense. I like that. Look, it's still, so it might not even do that. Same like the Aussie, might not even retrace right back down. It might just push up. Right. I'm just looking at the Discord chat going off as well. Yeah. So we've got some trade ideas on Discord happening right now from some of the members. Okay, we're looking at that. Then we look at the yen, the US yen. It bounced to a lesser extent in terms of volatility. It came down, it bounced back up, and then it pushed lower. Somewhat like what we expected. It came down, it pushed back up, and then it traded down. Not as far as we had expected. Push right back up, slightly because of the CPI number, core CPI number that we saw at 1.8. I don't think it is enough to consider for the BOJ to start considering more rate hikes, like what Governor Ueda was saying yesterday, that they could hike rates depending on market data, right? So I think 1.8 might not be enough, and that's what for now, and that's why we're seeing the yen push back up or weaken back up. You also see that it came from this move. From this move up, it's come down to about that 38.2 level, and it's pushing back up. Trend line, I don't really need a trend line here. Oh, kind of good representation. Okay, let's keep that. The trend line is still pushing up Now take those two away. Hey Noachuku, how you doing? Hey AYJ, good to see you. Now US yen pushing, bouncing off that trend line, pushing up. Even if I took the trend line down here, no, that doesn't make sense. Even if I took it there, bouncing off to push up. The question being that if you see that overall move and it's coming quite close, if it breaks above that 61.8 level and this bearish trend line, could we see further upside on the US yen? Again, dollar is sitting right there. If the dollar pushes down, it sits there and pushes lower, then we're likely to see this test and reject back down. In this area, let me draw my triangle again. I would say that in this area, I would be very careful of the US yen because it could just bounce, 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 and then either break strongly to the upside or come right back down. All right, so it's in that area. If you're looking at this, look at the trend, big downward move. You're looking for it to bounce around. My best guess would be that it bounces around there in this area. Then we'll look for a breakdown. Actually, it could really be anything. It could really be anything. So on the US yen, I would be a bit more careful. I'll watch for 145. I wouldn't even rush in. I'll look for 145 and 143. It could range between those two levels. All right, so US yen could range between 145 and 143. Look for breakout potential. Nothing yet. I wouldn't do anything in between that area. Watch for 145 and 143, which is just at that level there. Okay. And that 61 we'll keep there for now. Take that one away. We'll keep that there. Okay. So that's what I'll look out for on the yen. Nothing to rush into at this point. Now with that, then we look at the euro yen. Euro yen, same view. Euro dollar, anticipating that upward push. Yen bouncing around, could have some upside. Euro yen, I'll still be looking for that as it looks like it's pushing up. I'll be looking at 161.45, 40 pip stop, 133 to the upside. We'll keep that view on the euro yen. And then on pound yen, bouncing around, it's almost going to plan. It came right down, tested that trend line. It looks like it's bouncing back up. So you look at that, right? So we're seeing that come down, test, looking for it to push back up to test that resistance level. Could come back down to test the trend line again, look for a break or false break, and then possibly back down, depending on what the US yen is going to do. The pound dollar looks like it might have some downside, which could lead to that to test and then break lower again. So that's what we're looking at on the pound yen. You could go in a little bit earlier. I think it's safer at 192.50. 60 pip stop loss, 190 to the downside. If you wanted to go in earlier, you'd be looking for it to reject that resistance at 193, 60 pip stop. You have a 240 to the downside, but I don't see why it would move 240 right down. Okay. Then onto the US Swiss franc. Pushed right down. Pushed right down because of the dollar now pushing right back up. You can see also that the TSRI MACD crossed over and then it formed that bottom to push right back up. So that trade would have worked out quite nicely to the downside, just about that 50, almost 50 pip move to the downside. Now that it's pushing back up, take those away. I see a question there. Hang on one second. Okay, there we go. So Richard is asking, are you considering the potential escalation of the Lebanon war into your analysis? I think it's already escalated. I think it's beyond escalation. It's already way up there. On the major currency pairs, I haven't considered it too much. I'm looking at it more on gold, and that's why we're seeing gold continue to climb back up. We haven't seemed to have seen that much impact on the dollar as a reserve currency. We haven't seen that much impact on yen as a reserve currency. The Swiss as a reserve currency as well shown little impact. So in terms of currencies, not yet. I think that when it first happened, I don't know when, I can't remember when, months or years ago, or a year or months, many months ago, we saw a good impact. We saw a big impact there. But now, as the escalation happens, we're not seeing increased risk on, risk off sentiment, apart from gold continue to scale to the upside. Does that answer your question there, Richard? Let me know. Okay, on the US Swiss franc, bouncing off, pushing to the upside, 8445 right now. Down this way, 38.2. So remember, tomorrow we do have the Swiss National Bank with a rate cut scenario of 25 basis points. A rate cut should see the Swiss franc push up. There is that headliner I shared earlier about a possible currency intervention from the Swiss National Bank. I've told you the story about the Swiss National Bank many times already, about what happened back in, I think, 2016, where they unpegged against the euro and we saw massive craziness across the markets, despite them having said that they will not be unpegging. I'm always very cautious when it comes to the Swiss National Bank. What I would be looking out for in this case now would be 8460. Hey Basanta, how are you doing? So 38.2 break above that, 8470 stop loss, 20 take profit. You have 45 to the upside. You have 80 to the upside. That might be a good move up, especially anticipating a rate cut scenario to come from the SNB. Okay, so 8470. Where am I? We're looking to buy at 0.8470. Stop loss 20, take profit 80 to the upside. 20 to 80, am I right? Yes, 8470, 20 to 80 to upside. Okay, good. Then onto the US CAD. Look, we were saying it's right in the middle. Look for it to get to a level and then push back up. It came right down to the support. It hasn't pushed back up. I don't think there is a reason for it to push up at this point. No, our CAD has crude oil minus 1.6 to minus 1.3 on inventories. Lesser inventories, you see that it should, lesser inventories, lower supply should push oil prices slightly higher, which could affect the CAD. You can see here, affects the loonie. I'm actually thinking that we'll see that to come down. This point here. So if it stays below 1.3460 and 1.3445, stays below this support now turned resistance level. And I'm considering that point as well. Right, so looking at it, it needs to stay below this point to push down. Might do that, and then that move to the downside. Then we'll be looking at 1.3430. No, go a little bit lower, 1.3420. Stop loss 25. Take profit 55 to the downside. Rebound slightly or retrace slightly before rejecting and continuing lower. 1.3420. 25 to 55 to the downside. Sell at 1.3420. Stop loss 25. Take profit 55 to the downside. 25, 55. Yep. Dinah is saying I'm looking to sell from 1.3460. That's kind of 1.3460. That's in that area, yeah. So that little peak, that's a 1.3450. So we're kind of on that line, looking for it to push up. I know Diana likes to try and get in right at the turning point. I'm terrible at looking at turning points, so I look for it to push back down. See it drop already, then I'll get in. But yes, 1.3460 as it breaks out of this point. Look for the retrace there and then push back down. Fair enough. I think that it makes sense. And I like that we're aligned on that. All right. So now with that, then we'll go to my current favorite pair, gold, well not pair, commodity, gold. Gold. Right? I like it in a physical form. I like it in the CFD form. I like it in all forms. Even my name. The first, did you know that Jin in Chinese means gold? So that's why I like it that much. All right. I haven't added any other pairs yet. We'll try and figure that one out. Okay, so on gold, I have been trading it up, entering a trade, leaving it to run, take profit, move my stop loss to break even and more, let it run, and it keeps going up. So that has been relatively straightforward. Just wanted to share with you one thing that I was looking at yesterday as it pushed. Right, this was where we were at the end of our session. I'll zoom in a bit. Right at the end of our session, right there. Then it pushed up by about 7 o'clock. When it started pushing back down, I looked at this and I went shoulder, neckline, head, neckline, shoulder, and then I was looking for it to break. I was like, oh, great, that's a good neckline there at 26.25. If it breaks that neckline, we were looking at this area to break. We could see a big move back down. Did it happen? No, it didn't. It came right down, tested that neckline, and pushed right back up. As it pushed up, I got into a buy from, I think, yeah, about there last night. Held it all the way up. This morning, was sharing the Discord group. I had my stop loss at 26.55, but as it was pushing down, I went, it's going to retrace, close out of it, and secure the profits. So that head and shoulder did not play out. Richard did not know that. Yeah, it's a little unknown fact. You guys learn more and more about me every day. Now, looking at this whole move up, we have that point there. From this move, we have 38.2 and that, okay? So on gold, what I'm looking out for here, what am I trying to do? Okay, do that. What I'm looking out for now is not so much of a, there's no head and shoulder again, but I'm slightly encouraged to see that rejection. I would have liked to see that push even lower, but that rejection as it pushes down. But now, at this point here, a little bit, okay, 26.52. It can break 26.52. We could see it trade down towards the support level at 26.40, 41, right? But on current move, it doesn't look likely. It looks like it might have found 38.2 and it could bounce from here and back up again. How much higher? I'm gonna say, maybe you'd be it wouldn't be the first time you hear it. But hey, could gold get to 3,000? Put it into the chat. Let me know, what do you think? Could gold get to 3,000? It could. It's only a matter of time, right? I hate it when I see posts like, oh, gold's going to get to 3,000. Yeah. In what time frame? But yeah, do you think it could get to 3,000? That'd be interesting. Now, if it bounces off this 26.52 level, it's trying. Right, Bollinger looks okay. 26.60, I would say that would be a confirmation. Then we have 26.70 and 2,700 nicks. A lot more upside on gold to come. I don't see any major reason why or when it would retrace yet. Okay, there we go. So on gold, if it breaks above 26, or if it bounces off 26.52, let me do that. Gold, we've done that. Bounce of 26.52 could trade to 26.70 with major level at 2,700. I would be more than happy to trade it up. This morning someone tried request a foreign connection. Yeah, block that. Report that and block that, Richard. That would be a good one. I don't know why they try and do that. Diana says, can't predict on gold anything due to many factors, but it would be nice to see 3,000. If we see 3,000, there'll be a lot of built up selling pressures to come. Okay, so that's the view on gold. Could bounce off 26. Well, looking for it to bounce. Can't spell bounce. Bounce off 26.52 to trade to 26. It's doing that. To 26.70 and then possibly up to 2700. Now, with all that said, please trade well, trade safe. If you have any questions, drop it into the chat or join us on Discord. Mailing list is there. Check out my website. If you are in the UAE, if you are in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, anywhere in the UAE, or you're going to be in there, in the area on the 13th of October in about 3 weeks' time, come join me, live masterclass. I'll be running a session. It's absolutely free. Bring a friend, bring 3 friends, bring 5 friends. I look forward to seeing you all there. Please take care, trade well, trade safe. Bye-bye now.